David Pellow, Professor of Sociology at the University of Minnesota. Welcome to Access Minnesota.
Thank you.
You're in the Sociology department, but a lot of your work deals with environmental justice issues. Tell us more about environmental justice and how does that fit into sociology?
Sure. Well, I consider myself an environmental sociologist, and the idea there is that human beings impact the natural environment or ecosystems, and that ecosystems or the natural environment in turn impact human beings. And this, most people would agree, of course, that seems pretty obvious. But in sociology for well over a century, we've really been focused primarily, if not exclusively, on how humans impact other humans. And so the natural environment, the biological environment, the ecosystems haven't really played a major role in that equation. So one of the more recent manifestations of that school of sociology is what I've called environmental justice studies. And environmental justice studies now extends beyond sociology. I mean, it's throughout the humanities, the social sciences, law, public health. But the idea is that not only are human beings impacting the environment and vice versa, but this happens in uneven ways. So economically, politically, culturally, we find that environmental policies, environmental decision-making, and environmental catastrophes, various environmental events, whether it be sort of Hurricane Katrina, whether it be earthquakes, natural disasters have unnatural and uneven social impacts. And so environmental justice studies seeks to explore the reasons why that is, seeks to document that, and seeks to present or propose solutions to those problems.
How does the BP oil spill compare to other environmental disasters historically, both here in the U.S. and elsewhere in the world?
Yes, well, I've heard that many times. I think we've heard that the BP oil spill is probably the worst environmental disaster in United States history, certainly the worst oil spill in United States history. I guess I want to hesitate to quantify that just because it seems like every day or every other day, or certainly every week, new figures emerge that are deeply distressing about how much more oil is being spilled from this mishap, this accident, than we thought the previous week. But what's clear is that it clearly outpaces the Santa Barbara oil spill of in the late 1960s, which had a positive social and political impact, a cultural impact, in the sense that it really pushed the environmental movement to the forefront. It pushed the President and Congress to move environmental legislation, to found an Office of Environmental Protection, the U.S. EPA. And it also, and besides that particular spill, it also clearly has exceeded the volume and the impact of the Exxon Valdez spill of 20 years ago. But it's not clear where this is all going and when this is going to end. I've also read reports that people in other parts of the world, particularly places in Latin America and West Africa, where we find enormous oil spills on a routine basis, are raising their hands and saying, hey, what about us? I mean, we have this kind of thing going on almost all the time, or certainly more frequently than what we see in the United States. And why isn't there similar media or political attention placed on that? So I think those are legitimate concerns. But one thing is clear, that we haven't seen anything like this in the United States in quite some time. And we're going to be, I think, reeling from the impacts for decades to come.
There's been a great deal of criticism of the Obama administration and BP for not reacting quickly enough to help stem this oil spill. Are those criticisms valid?
I guess as a sociologist, I want to step back and say, I think an accident like this, an incident like this is inevitable. When you have high risk, inherently unsafe systems, this kind of thing, whether at this scale or at even a lesser scale, is inevitable. It's par for the course. And so I guess my view of this is that we shouldn't be surprised. And I don't think that this is the crisis. I think this is reflective of the broader problem. And so when you ask about Congress, the President, or BP, I think the mistake they made was long ago accepting the idea and embracing the idea that we have to be a society that is really dependent on fossil fuels, that is really dependent on unsustainable and risky technologies. So I think if we step back and think of it that way, I mean, I think of this as a problem of societal proportions, even civilizational proportions. I mean, I think this is really about how do we define our society? How do we even define the idea of progress? And if we think about it that way, then we can think about solutions that go beyond pointing the finger at maybe BP or Obama or the Congress and say maybe we should rethink this thing from the ground up. So that's the long answer. The short answer is I think they're all to blame.